Namaste. We are here for another session on the poem in the Bazaars of Hyderabad. In our first three sessions, we have covered almost all the points. Eventually, in our third session, we have talked about first three stanzas. Today, with much introduction, I'm just running the third, fourth, and fifth. Third, I will talk about in connection. So we have seen the third stanza that the poet has gone to that particular area where there are rich businessmen because they are talking about or they are dealing with expensive materials. If you have money, if you can afford that much luxury, lavishness, then only you can reach to those shops. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for common people. But she has done it because it's a bazaar. The moment you are talking about bazaar, it's a description about bazaar. It includes all. Bazaar is not about only fruit shop. Because in my other sessions, in 1, 2, 3 sessions, perhaps I have talked about that there is specialization about bazaar nowadays. But somehow, in 1912, this is not the scenario. So therefore, she has talked about all. And the next shop she has described is all about fruits, instruments, and the magicians. It looks like this. What do you cry, O ye fruitmen? Citron, pomegranate, and plum? What do you play, O musicians? Sitar, sarangi, and drum? What do you chant, O magicians? Spells for eons to come. Very simple. So she has gone to the fruitmen. And she has talked about 3 fruits. Citron, that's large size lemon. Pomegranate, bedana, and plum. What do you play, O musicians? Here you have to understand that this is all about Shabdartha and Bhavartha. I have already shared what is Shabdartha and Bhavartha. Shabdartha means the dictionary meaning. But Bhavartha is something different, beyond dictionary meaning. Here musicians, it doesn't mean that Zakir Hussain has come with his tabla and playing in the bazaar. When he talks about sitar, it doesn't mean the great artist that India has produced, Ravi Shankar, doesn't come with his sitar and he's playing in the bazaar. So please do not take the literal meaning. You have to take the metaphorical meaning. Sarangi. So actually these are small sized instruments. You can take those instruments for your kids and you can take it, they're playing and they become entertained. So these are the musicians. But when these musicians, they also exemplify, before they sell it, they play it so melodiously that definitely people are getting attracted by this. So sitar, sarangi, and drum. What do you chant? The magicians are also there and they're chanting. These are all hymns. Hymns. And spells for aeons to come. Aeons actually ages. And definitely these scriptures, these hymns are getting transformed, are getting transmitted from one generation to another, from one age to another. Because if we talk about Veda, it started long back, 3000 years back, but still it's going on. The same scripture, there is no change. So 300 years back, the same person, Pandit, they chanted Vedas, and today also if you're really an expert on Vedas and if you're chanting, you are going to chant the same scriptures. So it's a tradition. It's a convention. Convention, the word, actually a Greek word, it means passing on. So it comes from one generation to another generation, just like river. River starts from a source and then it moves through different parts of the country, of the nation, of the world. Last stanza, where she has given a twist. What do you weave, O ye flower girls, with tassels of azure and red? Crowns for the brow of a bridegroom, chaplets to garland his bed, sheets of white blossoms, new garner to perfume the sleep of the dead. Such a powerful imagery. At last, the fifth stanza talks about the crescendo of the poem. The crux of the poem. What do you weave, O ye flower girls? Again, take the term flower girls. So these are the small girls. First, she has talked about ladies. In the second stanza, if you go back to the second stanza, she has talked about the maidens. Maidens means those who are not married. But here she talks about girls. So you can understand that irrespective of age, irrespective of experience, they have come to the bazaar and they are doing their tasks. Some people are buyers, some people are sailors. So what an observation by the poet. Here she has termed as flower girls. They are girls, they are not so experienced. Maybe that these flower girls, they have collected the flowers and they have come with their basket and they are selling those things. Where a person doesn't need or does not require that much experience about business and about transactions. So they can sell it. They can be given that much responsibility that you sell flowers. So perhaps this is the intonation or intention of the poet inside when she has mentioned flower girls. With tassels of azure and red. Tassel is actually loose string. So what are they doing? They're stitching something, they're weaving, they're concocting, C-O-N-C-O-C-T, concoct means to weave, of azure and red. So what's the color? Azure is blue and red. Next, crowns for the brow of a bridegroom. It talks about marriage. Not only they are weaving some garlands, but also they are weaving the crowns. Crown means topper. That when you are going for marriage, you have to wear these things. So they are preparing. So what's the symbol over here? That garland, suppose if you're garlanding somebody else, it shows a felicitation. Just as before a meeting, a president is garlanded. So it's a felicitation. Next, she has come, that crowns. It talks about unity. Through the institution of marriage, two souls get together. They became wedlocked. Wedlocked. This is the language that Shakespeare has used. So think about the imagination from one phase to another. She's moving so smoothly. It talks about the caliber, the skill, the uniqueness of the poet. So crowns for the brow of a bridegroom. So they are getting ready to be married. So marriage is going to take place. It talks about unity. It talks about extension of family, extension of generation. Chaplets to garland his bed. At the same time, they are also decorating the bed where union will take place. Little bit sexual intonation, but we are not going to take this at this point of time. Somehow, the bed is getting decorated so that it becomes a beautiful union. The real or meaningful union, so that they can cherish the love, responsibility and emotional aspects in that particular marriage. So chaplets to garland his bed. So they are decorating, they are also weaving something with which you can decorate the bed. It means that these things are used to beautify the marriage. So it's really giving a sanction to the marriage. And flower becomes a message of purity. So in front of the flowers, this unity or union is taking place. It's a positive symbol. Sheets of white blossoms, new garnered to perfume the sleep of the dead. Last line, there is a jug. Sheets actually talks about the torn petals. If the flower is complete, then you are purchasing that flower for different purposes. But if the petals are torn, if it is withered a little bit, if the petals have come out, if it is rather decentralized, if it is removed from the main part of the flower, then these sheets are also used. Why? What's the task? What's the activity of these sheets? These sheets are used to decorate another bed. What's the bed? That's the last bed. And this is the bed for the dead. Again, crux of poet's observation. So there are two beds. First bed talks about unity. Second bed talks about regeneration. It's another form of regeneration. So the first is regeneration through a different process. And the moment you are dead, you are getting diminished. You are cremated properly. You become an ember, After the burning process, you become the elements of nature, and again through elements of nature you get the rebirth. It's again resurrection, because Indian tradition, Indian mythology believes in rebirth. Think about the uniqueness of the poet. So with two side by side, she's talking about two beds with two different dimensions, two different semantic aspects. So, and there is a formula that it says that prepare your bed. What does it mean? That you can be a successful person, you can earn money, you can earn reputation, you can earn so many things in your life, material perspective, monetary perspective. But ultimately, if you do not take care of your health, you have to bear the pain. So prepare your bed so that it gives you ease or peace, pleasure, comfort, easiness. Simply, if you want to have the simplification of this meaning, let's take an example. Suppose you have earned reputation, this and that, but ultimately you have not taken care of your physical aspect. You did not take care of your physique, and you are tremendously sick. I can give you the medicine. I can offer you the tea and whatever food you want to relish at that point of time, everything. But who can bear your pain? If you are injected, that pain of injection has to be borne by the patient. So it's going to be a motto of life. Please take care of your final bed. So she has come wonderfully to a wonderful jog that this is what these flower girls do. Apparently, it seems that these flower girls are not at all significant in the market from the perspective of the market, but they are doing the final job. And these garlands are also important because sometimes you are offering to the gods. You are purchasing flowers only to worship. So in this final stanza, she has talked about three different things for three different aspects of life. So one, you are talking about your spiritual life because you are worshipping God. So garland is very important. Second, you are thinking about your physical development or physical aspect. You are getting married. And the third talks about your death. It's an otherworldly affair. So these three things are combined in one stanza. I hope you have understood the real caliber of the poet to bring these three different things in one single stanza. To perfume the sleep of the dead so that the dead body can sleep properly while that journey takes place. Maybe according to us, it's a long journey from one plane to another plane. You are moving, and if it takes long time, then definitely these flowers will give you the fragrance so that you can entertain while you are sleeping. You can breathe in properly. That freshness should be there. So to perfume the sleep is also very important. So if you read one poem, miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. It's a famous line. So the first line, sleep talks about the physical sleep that you take after the day's toil. Toil here, I'm talking about the laborious task. That's a physical sleep that you need to rejuvenate your body for the next day. And the final sleep, miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. So second sleep talks about your death. So first sleep talks about your physical rest. Second sleep talks about your eternal rest. And think about the phrase, miles to go. So here perhaps the same intonation, same reference here. It is also applicable over here that if it's going to be a long journey, these flowers, sheets of flowers will help you keep the freshness inside. This is all about the poem. But in my third stanza, or especially in my fourth stanza, I have promised that I will take you to a different level. In my next video, I will try to give you the third level of signification of the poem. This is the end of these 5 stanzas. I hope you have understood. If there is any question, suggestion is the same. Thank you very much. Let's wait for the last video for a different level of understanding or realization about the poem. Thank you very much.